So Falun Gong was like, well, this report isn't very good for us. So they set up this thing called the China Tribunal. That is set up via their front group, the International Coalition to End Transplant Abuse in China. The Coalition to End Transplant Abuse in China is a nonprofit that is staffed in large part by members of their media organization, the Epoch Times.
Or Epoch Times, depending on how you want to
depending on which continent you're from.
Well, I've always pronounced it Epoch.
So to be clear, there's a China Tribunal, which is made up of like these like MPs and these doctors and these lawyers. And that itself, that tribunal was set up by another group that is a Falun Gong front group, if that makes any sense. This tribunal comes out, of course, and this is, I believe, just a couple of years ago, with this big report that says, and again, a lot of Falun Gong sources in this, that says that the Falun Gong are being hunted for their organs, and they're having their organs harvested even while they're still alive. Many of the people involved in that tribunal also are members of the Uyghur Tribunal, which is how we hear a lot of the talk of genocide and all those sort of things about the Uyghurs. And so
notes and shoes.
The notes and shoes and all this kind of stuff. And so this is all like, and you can see it's like the germ of the same thing. Like many Uyghurs were put into these like labor camps, right?
Right.
And that becomes, these are death camps and it is a genocide.
Right.
Many people, there was a lot of sketchy shit going on with the organs in China for a little while, and they didn't have a formal organ donation system. That becomes the Falun Gong is being hunted for their organs and harvested.
Because they simply just try to bring peace when the Chinese communists only want war.
Well, they do have qi in their bodies, and so
Wait, don't we all have qi?
They have a lot more qi because they practice.
I see.
And so I get wanting to get people's we call it mana in the West. I get wanting to we have blue potions and stuff like that, but they seem to think they can only get it via like guts out there. And so we see, and so all right, so China Tribunal will comes out with its findings, and then that is laundered in these headlines from places like Reuters that say things like China Tribunal, which sounds so official and so
it sounds like the China Tribunal.
The China Tribunal.
That's just the tribunal about China.
Exactly. The China Tribunal is, which we'll call an independent tribunal, which what the fuck does that mean?
What the fuck is even a tribunal?
I actually kind of like tribunals.
No, but I'm saying like in a non-legal context, to just be like the tribunal says, it's like, this is just, they could call themselves a committee and it would be organizationally and functionally the same thing.
Yes.
A club.
Listen, I gotta tell you, I participated in a tribunal a couple of years ago. We had no legal standing. This is a tribunal right here. Well, no, what's the way the Soviets did? Troika. No, TrueAnon is a troika.
Naturally.
But you have this way of laundering these talking points, right? You have the Epoch Times or Falun Gong sets up this front group. That front group sets itself up with another front group. And then that front group releases a report, and that report is sent out to, in press releases to all these journalists, very few of which I'm sure actually have read the report.
Yeah.
And then those journalists at these like prestigious outlets just report on the fact that there is a report and will maybe give the summary of what they're told that it says, right? Yeah. And so that is like, and that's a way a lot of information.
I was going to say almost
like, yeah,
almost all information that ends up in congressional reports has gone through this lovely washing machine process.
Yeah. And so this is still a major talking point. Again, this happened just a couple of years ago with the China. I mean, maybe even less than a couple of years ago with the China Tribunal. And then they have the Uyghur Tribunal as well. They put a lot of Uyghur stuff in the China Tribunal too. But again, the focus of all of this is Falun Gong.